Hello, hello. It is, I guess, early afternoon here in the Okanagan Valley. I am going to do a little bit of finishing up on this buffet that we started. I don't know when we started it, a few videos ago, I guess. If you're interested in learning these things, I have a ton of videos that I'm putting up on YouTube. I just started doing them a few months ago, because I found that a lot of people want to either learn how to paint their own pieces, or they're painting them and they've really messed up and they need ideas and techniques to figure out how to do it better, or they are furniture painters and they're just learning, things that maybe they didn't know a month ago. And every little bit that you can learn as a furniture painter helps you to be faster, more efficient, and have your outcome way better. So that's kind of the reason I do the videos. I would really appreciate it if you're watching this video, even if you're not a furniture painter, but even if you're interested in decor, or just you like watching things for the heck of it, share with your friends. If you hit follow, you can follow us and it will notify you whenever we do a live. And I try to do lives with pretty much every piece I do. Some pieces I can't do on the live, but ones like this I can, and I try to go from start to finish, so taking it from a really banged up old ugly piece to something really beautiful. So if you follow, you will get the notifications each time, and you don't have to watch them at the time they come up. You can watch them later, and then go to YouTube under Flandrens Interiors and you will find our videos there. I've created playlists on YouTube, so for instance, this one will be under Duncan Phyfe Buffet Upcycle, and it will have all of the videos that I've done on that specific playlist for this piece. So each piece I do has its own playlist, and you'll also find it, if it's the latest video, you'll also find it in the latest video playlist as well. So I'm trying to do these, like I said, start to finish, because a lot of people are really quite lost, and there's just no point in buying the paint, getting the piece. Maybe it's a piece you've had in your family for 200 years, although I probably wouldn't paint it. If it's been in your family for a long time and it just needs some love and attention, this is a really great way to do these things and really make them look beautiful again. So today I'm going to do some gilding wax on the handles. I have the handles on. I have the rub-on transfer on. We did that video yesterday, so if you didn't see it, go back and look. We've painted it in Fusion Mineral Paints Algonquin, Raw Silk, and Chocolate. And thank you to Barb from Pink Bee in the west side of Kelowna, who has a beautiful little shop, and she provides me with the paint. So, well, actually I buy it from her, but she's my girl to go get it. And then I'm going to do a little bit about decor and a little bit about wipe on poly to the top of a newly stained piece, because I haven't put anything as a protective coating on top of this piece yet. So I tend to use wipe on poly. There's a ton of different things you can use, but that's kind of my go-to. And I generally use either the satin or the gloss, and I prefer the satin because it doesn't look so in your face. But I'm just going to show you that these pieces can really be dressed up. I mean, before I probably wouldn't have put anything on it. It's kind of yucky. I tend to go, when I'm out and about and I'm invited to someone's home, I tend to look at their pieces, and I don't mean to be critical or anything, but oftentimes people have gorgeous pieces and they've just become a junk pile. There's, newspapers from 10 years ago stacked on them, and cigarettes and old ashtrays and socks. And I think, oh, you just don't know how lucky you are to have a buffet piece that you could really dress up and do really nicely. So if you entertain, you will use a buffet all the time. I have a buffet I've had for probably 15 or 18 years now, and I absolutely love it. I might not use it specifically at a buffet for a big dinner or something, but I've used it for baby showers, for birthday parties, for Christmas dinners. And then when it's not in use as a buffet, I use it as a really nice decor focal piece in my dining room. So I will go over a little bit of the decor things with you. So actually that's where we're going to start, because once I do that, I have to clear off this to do the wipe on poly. So behind me, I've got several different colors. This is how this looks, and I'm gonna turn up the lights a little bit so you can see it better. Get some light on the subject here. So that's how the piece turned out. This is Algonquin with a little bit of chocolate and raw silk blended in. And that is 2 coats of raw silk as an undercoat, rolled on everywhere except for the very top. The top we stripped and stained, so that's in video 1. And then this was, whoops, gotta move my chair. This was done with paint blending, so I did a separate video on the paint blending part of it. And then we put the ribbon transfer on yesterday. Now, I know that some of the words are a little bit obliterated by the handles, but it had beautiful handles. I could have filled them in and put a knob in the middle instead, but I really loved the handles and I wanted to use them. They're probably, I think at Lee Valley, these are about $15 or $17 a piece. So there's easily probably $200 worth of handles on this whole piece. So that alone is worth something, right? Then I'll just show you quickly before I get on to the core stuff. What I've done is I've gone and cleaned up inside all the drawers. And I will put a little bit of poly in this particular drawer because it's not quite as beautiful. It's washed, but the poly will bring it up really nice, the wipe on poly. But all of these drawers are in beautiful shape. These drawers got washed out. They're in beautiful shape. This drawer, if you remember, had the little dividers in it, and I washed it out. I'm not sure if I'll put the dividers in because a lot of people don't use those anymore. And then on the inside here, I didn't paint the inside of the door. I generally don't. And I just cleaned it up, and it's actually in beautiful shape. So I'll probably do a little bit of wipe on poly off camera in there just to bring up the wood tone in there a little bit. But everything's been washed and cleaned up, so it's in beautiful shape. Along the bottom there, the very, very bottom, I put the very last bit of the wipe on poly, if you can see that there. I don't always know what I'm looking at because I'm behind the camera, so but I think that turned out really well. And then the top was stripped down with paint stripper, 2 rounds of paint stripper, and then it was stained in, what was it, Verithane's Kona gel stain. So that's what it has on top of it right now. So it's nice. The gel stain has a bit of a top coat in it, which is nice. So if I really didn't want to do anything, I wouldn't have to. But I am going to, because when I put the wipe on poly, it's basically a plastic coating and it protects the surface. If you use shellac, you can do 3 or 4 or 5 coats of shellac to get a really beautiful sheen as well. But one thing with shellac is any alcohol, so if you put gin on it, wine on it, any type of alcohol on shellac, it will kind of eat into the shellac. So I would rather be safe because it's such a nice piece and just go with some wipe on poly. Okay, so I'm going to move my little chair here and let's talk about a bit of decor here. I'm trying to get a good shot, so maybe I'll just, well, where will I go? Let's go over here. I might raise this up a little bit, so bear with me for a second. These are great pieces. If you don't have one, go to your restore and look for one because they're so useful in a home. It's crazy. And that is my beach umbrella in the back there. Okay, I'm going to move this farther. Okay. So what I've got here is, I'm just showing you different colors here. So because this is a neutral, every color pretty much goes with it. Burgundy goes with it. Pink goes with it. Off-white goes with it. Gold goes with it. Red or cranberry goes with it. Crystal goes with it. Navy blue goes with it. Greens, any type of greens goes beautifully with it. There's more gold and more blue and more green. So that's just a little sample. I mean, you could really dress this up any which way you wanted. So I've got a few pieces here. that I wanted to show you. So if we take this away, and we'll say dress this up a couple of different ways for you, and we take this away and this away, and we put, say we're having a birthday party, and I'm sure you all have one similar to this, but a nice little cake plate. I probably wouldn't have 2 sets of candles on it, but a nice little cake plate with a cake on it, and then a floral in the middle, and then your candle holders on the other end. So that looks really pretty together. I would probably even, with this, I would probably even use something more rustic for candles. So this piece can be dressed up quite glamorously or very simply. I could also change the centerpiece out, put something a little bit more lavish in there to dress it up if I wanted to. So we'll put that in there. And I have an old antique picture that I have. Put that in there. Of course, I would be careful what I had up here. I would probably have a big mirror up here. A beautiful big mirror would go perfect with this piece. And then we could move this out and still have our beautiful flowers. And that would make a pretty fancy buffet, I would think. That looks really nice together, doesn't it? I tend to think if you're going to have a piece that you've done like this that looks like an antique, to kind of dress it up in that kind of decor, although you can go really modern with it as well. So it really depended. One thing is if you were having a dinner party, or you had, say, wine, and you had your wine, pretend those are wine bottles. You had your wine in your glasses, that could be put on there. Just get yourself a really nice, beautiful gold tray and put your wine and your wine bottles on there. Some people use these, which is what I do, to make charcuterie boards with. And the charcuterie boards on these are just really beautiful. It's a really lavish look. So that's just a few little ideas. I could decorate that 25 different ways, maybe even more. Just depending on what a person had in their home, what they want to use, what style their buffet is, if it's modern, or if it's something more antique and rustic looking like that. So there's a ton of different things you can do with it. You just have to really play around with what you have. Take out some pieces that you find really nice, and away you go. So I'm going to move this down a little bit here and bring you in a little bit closer. And I'm going to show you how I do these handles. So what I have is some stuff. I'm going to put a glove on because it gets kind of messy. I have this gold gilding wax. It's, I don't know how you say it, Pebeo gilding wax. And I believe this is Empire Gold. Can't see the name of it on here, but it's a very nice rich gold. I got this from Amazon. You can get it sometimes at craft stores, but I've found that Amazon is really good for ordering this type of thing with. So these have been washed. The difference between the old look and the new look will be quite drastic. I'll show you one of the older ones, and this one has been washed too, so just gonna move this down a bit. Okay, so these look a little bit tarnished here. They have been cleaned up really, really well, but they really, to me, look very tarnished still. So this one has had a little bit of gold gild difference between the two now. So that's what I'm going to do with these. I'm going to put my cushions away and steal my chair. And all you do, I actually do these with my bare hands, but I'm going to do them with glove on for now because I have to do the wipe on poly after, and I don't want this all over my hands. So just take a little bit on your finger, and you just take the drawer handle and just rub it over top. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to get any raised bits. And what I want to do as I do that is I want to leave some of the old darkened look in the background. So it gives it a really antique-y look. And then I'll come up here and do a little bit more up here. You can do this in 2 or 3 layers if you want to apply more, or you can just do 1 layer if you want it to be pretty rustic looking. It doesn't take much, and this actually dries really hard in a few days. So right immediately it brightens up the old yucky old looking hardware. I'll do these ones here really quick. It's super fast. Don't get it on your wood, and if you do get it on your wood, be sure to take mineral spirits right away and rub it off, because it will take the wax off. So this is a nice way of working with the antique handles without having to spray them and really ruining. I don't think spraying handles ruins them at all. Some people do, but I think it's a nice way of doing these and getting them really pretty very quickly without taking away from the old charm of it, which is the darkness and the old, I would think it's oxidization that causes the darkening of these pieces. I'm not really sure about that. So that is that, and if I wanted it darker, I could go in and do it darker. I shouldn't say darker, I could make it more gold than it is right now if I want to just wait a few minutes, let it dry a little bit, and then add some more. So that's with the handles on. I think I missed one handle here. Oh, I got a little bit more to do. And just be really careful. If you wanted to, you could go across these bars and do a little bit of gold there. I might actually do that. But I really just like the simple, I really wanted this to be like an old-fashioned, simple look of kind of that grungy old paint from an old piece you might find in an old French villa or something like that. So that is what the handles look like when they're done. I think that's really pretty. So we've got the drawers cleaned out, we've got all the edges tidied up from any excess paint, we've got the ends done. The ends look just like that. We've got the top stained and done. And the last thing to do pretty much is to do a little coat of the white on poly, and I'll show you how easy that is. When I say easy, I guess it's because I've been doing this, but I know for a lot of people this just sort of floors them and they don't even want to attempt it. But if you see it done properly, it tends to take a little bit of that fear out of it. And I would love to see more people painting for themselves and doing these things for themselves. I know it's a little bit scary, but we all have to start somewhere, right? Okay. All right, so that needs to be wiped down with a cloth. I just have an ordinary cloth here. I'm going to raise this back up so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so let's see if I can get in here and get a good shot of it. I'm going to just clean this with the cloth. It's already been buff sanded with my buffing pad, so it's super smooth. It's like glass. I'm just getting the last little bit of any dust off of it from the last couple of days out here. Normally I would use a tack cloth, but I don't know where I put my tack cloth, so I'm using this one. Okay, so wipe on poly, like I said, is just a polyacrylic, and you put it on with the cloth and you wipe it off with the cloth. pour this into a container. So this is the Wipe on Poly. It literally is, that's the name of it, Wipe on Poly. This is in clear satin. It is a Minwax product, and pretty much every hardware store has these. So what I do is I just pour a little bit on. Now you have to get it onto the whole piece and then start your wiping around. You literally wipe this stuff around. Be very careful putting it on that way. If you can't do that, I would suggest just putting it in a bowl to start. So you will see the sheen of this come up. I'm going to do right along the front. There's a whole bunch in the middle. It's really easy to work with. It's super slick. If you feel it pulling at all, you need to add more. That just means you don't have enough on. So it will stay open, meaning it will stay really pliable like this for a few minutes, probably about 2 minutes. And I'm going to go right up on this back wall here and over along here. You can see the sheen coming up on this piece. This is satin. It's the satin polyurethane, or Wipe on Poly they call it. Now what I want to do is just take a gander and make sure I've gotten everything. So I think from looking at it, I've pretty much gotten it. Now that I know that I've pretty much covered it all, I'm going to take my cloth from one end to the other, and then I'm going to overlap a little bit my last lap, down again, overlap a little bit my last one, down again, and overlap again. You just keep doing that until you're completely finished. You can use a sponge applicator for this, but with Wipe on Poly, it is a plastic, it is a polyacrylic. So if you use a sponge, you're either going to have to wash it out with mineral spirits after, or throw it out. So that is the sheen on it now. Now I will probably do another 2 coats, just so it has a beautiful coat all over it, because then it's really protective. If someone puts something on there, it's not going to get stained as easily or leave a stain in the wood. And also the second and third coat would cover any little bits that you might have missed. Normally what I do is I get right down and I look to see if there's any spots, and I actually can't see any, but that's what I do, is I check for spots. So I think that turned out pretty well. The front, because it has the transfer on it, I'm going to take some clear wax and just wax the front where it needs it, just to kind of seal it in. You can use Wipe on Poly over top of that, but I think just clear wax is just as good. So I'll probably try a little bit of black wax in here. I won't right now, but I'm gonna just maybe see if I can jazz these columns up a little bit. But that's about it. Other than that, it's done. So I hope you learned a lot, and if you want to know more, go back and look at our videos from, I got my big lights up here again, our first and second videos from this series, and watch them, see how we did this. I know a lot of people have old pieces like this, so it's good to learn, and it's fun to do. It's very relaxing if you can do it right. If it's not done right, it's probably pretty stressful, but I love doing it. So I'm hoping that helped, and share this, follow us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.